Hey, Blue Table fans! Ready for the Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report? I can't hear you! So, oh, who lives on a pineapple under the sea? Sorry, has to happen. Okay, so, first off, for those of you waiting for high definition, just hold tight. We really tried to get it online today, but we had a minor technical difficulty which we just couldn't see through in time. So the old flip camera is going to have to be the one for today. All right, so the first thing you do in a game is you set up your terrain. So let's take a look at how the board is set. Okay, we're playing on a 7-foot by 4-foot table. Like most Warhammer Fantasy games, you want sparse terrain, and we decided to make our terrain ever so simple by just putting out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of impassable terrain. That means that if you flee into it, the unit is destroyed. Now this little thing here, the circular flat, that is just easy terrain. Really, that's just decoration. So take a close look. It's high adventure on the desert sands. Okay, my worthy opponent has 2 spellcasters. One of them is a Chaos Sorcerer on Steed, and he has Mark of Slaanesh. The spells he rolled were number 1 and 3, Lash of Slaanesh, which is a magic missile, and also Hysterical Frenzy, which requires a unit to take a leadership test or possibly take wounds. This Chaos Sorcerer on Disc of Tzeentch has Mark of Tzeentch, and his spells are number 1 and 2. Now, there's definitely a strategy to picking higher or lower level spells, depending on what you roll, of course. I am a fan of picking mostly lower level spells, because they can be cast on 2 dice, possibly as low as 1, 3 dice if you want almost a sure thing. And that really gives you a lot more options, in my opinion. Now let's take a look at the Lizardmen spells. Oh, and the spells for the Tzeentch guy were Flickering Fire of Tzeentch and Baleful Transmogrification. Alright, let's roll spells for the Lizardmen. The first spellcaster I have is a Skink Priest riding an Ancient Stegodon. And all Skink Priests have the Lore of the Heavens. They're level 2, so they get 2 spells. I rolled a 1 and a 5. Now you can always switch out a spell for the number 1 spell. But since I rolled a 1, I pretty much am stuck with what I got. And that's Portent of Far, which gives you some rerolls, and Uranon's Thunderbolt, which is a like a damaging spell. I also have a Skink Priest on foot, and let's roll up his spells. They are number 3 and 3. So I'm going to re-roll the duplicate. 3 and 4. So let's take a look. Celestial Shield gives a ward save against ranged attacks. Well, my opponent doesn't have any ranged attacks, so that's a no-brainer. He's going to take 1 and 4. Portent of Far, and also Forked Lightning. And we're ready to deploy. All right, folks. We're done deploying, and here's what we got. Let me give you the rundown. We have some Chaos Warhounds, Chaos Knights with a Chaos Lord leading them right in the middle. We've got some Marauder Horsemen, Chaos Warriors, Dragon Ogres, a Chaos Sorcerer on mount joined to a unit of Chaos Marauder Horsemen, more Chaos Knights, Chaos Warhounds, and a Chaos Sorcerer of Tzeentch on disc. So that's what we have now. This battle line is basically broken up by this giant chunk right here. Otherwise, pretty well open for advance. Now let's take a look at the Lizardmen. The Lizardmen are deployed a little more centrally. I only have a little distraction, a deadly distraction of a Salamander. Pretty soon this is going to be replaced by 3 Razor Dawn packs, which will boost the points well up past 2,500. And use cool models and be great in the game. So, we have a Stegodon with a bolt thrower on top. That's the standard configuration. A unit of Saurus Warriors here with full command, 25 of those. a Skink Priest on an Ancient Stegodon with Engine of the Gods. That gives him one of 3 powers a turn, which we'll go over presently. A unit of Saurus Warriors. I'm using the Temple Guard figures, but there's no law against that. And here is a Saurus Scar Veteran. I'm using the Chacox Eternity Warden model for that. A unit of Skink Warriors with a couple of Croxagore for some beefiness. Some Skirmishers. And finally, hiding over here, the Skink Priest. Okay, the Lizardmen finish deploying first, so they get +1 to their roll for option to go first. And here it is. 3 + 1 is 4, and then my opponent rolled a 4, so that's a tie. Reroll. 2 and 2. So I get option to go first, which I am definitely going to take because I gotta get to the middle of the board as soon as possible in order to get wedged between these 2 impassable pieces of terrain. I'm hoping that will deny flank to my opponent, and I think I can make it. The problem is if I move the Stegodons up 12 inches, because there's 24 inches between, right? That means I'll be within 12 inches of his guys, which will give them a possible charge on the first turn. So I may not run the Stegodons up so much. These guys go 14, so I really want to go less than 10 inches up in my first turn. And that will not be a problem because these guys can only march 4 × 2 = 8 inches. So away we go. Lizardmen turn 1, movement phase. Let me show you how fast this can go. These guys move 12 inches. Want to keep them out of charge range here, so I'm just going to move them up like this. Don't want them charged by the Warhounds. The Skinks are like chaff. They have toughness 2, and I think they have light or no armor. I'm going to move these guys up 10 inches. Just straight. Did I say 10? I'm going to move them 9. Now, telling my opponent that is a bad idea. You should just move your guys and not tell him what the distance are. So don't calculate this thing out loud. That way, he doesn't know how far away he is or how far you moved. He may miscalculate. He may think that you moved maximum speed. These guys move 6, by the way. These guys only move 8. So I'm going to keep a pretty straight battle line here. I love these flush trays. They are fantabulous. Get the Stegodon up thus-wise. Actually, I'm going to move him a little more towards the front. That way, anyone trying to charge these guys, but that overlaps, is going to end up in combat with him, either instead or in addition to. So move this guy up, and then move the Stegodon up. In fact, let's not march him, so that way we can shoot his bolt thrower. So I'll move 6. And who do I want? Well, if I'm in the side, so I'm going to fudge a little bit here and move him more like that. Because if I'm in the side rank, I can actually do enfilading fire on those guys there. And let's get the Salamander moved up. He has 6-inch move. We definitely want to shoot him because in a long shot he can get quite a few of these guys over here. Well, is that true? I don't think he's going to reach because the template's only like this long. Let's get out the template. And the farthest it can move is like 10 inches, right? So that's how he works. And then you move it. Yeah, actually he could. He could conceivably get somebody, but it's really a 1 in 6 chance. So yeah, that's a tough one. We'll tell you how that went.